Alrighty then, you can already tell what this is. This is What If Deku Had Overhaul Part 2. So last time I left off, Deku was about to, it was being told about the sports festival. I don't know if I said that he was already in sports festival, but if I did, he's not. They're telling Deku that you'll have to participate in the sports festival since since you're a UA student. And they basically do tell him that he can forfeit, but it would be better if he participated. Basically, just to get his name out there. Like, a lot of jobs would even want him, even like if he had a good quirk. So, Deku basically he's like, alright, whatever, I'll attempt for this little, this little show that we'll be throwing. So Deku, he's like, alright, I'll be heading out now. So he leaves. And, he bumps into Kendo, because, she is in his class, though. Because I said Kendo is in class 1A in this one, since Deku doesn't want to be a hero. So, he's talking to Kendo, and Kendo is like, so, I can't really, walk with you today since I have club practice. And, Deku's like, you're in a club? He's like, yeah, I'm in the, karate club. Basically, like, she's in some sort of, like, fighting club in UA. Ojiro's in there, too. What's it called? But, Deku isn't really friends with Ojiro, really, in this one, at least. So, Deku basically is like, oh, okay, well, either way, I'll be heading out now, I hope you have fun at your club today. So, Deku heads out, she's like, thanks, and she heads towards her club. Something's happening there, but, neither of them can put their finger on it, really. So, Deku, he starts heading towards, he starts walking home, and then, he gets bumped into by this, little girl. He's like, oh, hello there. Are you alright? The little girl looks into Deku's eyes, and she's scared. Deku's like, are you okay? Are you lost? And, she basically, she snaps out of it, and, she says, help me. Deku, he gets into a defensive stance real quick. He's like, alright, get behind me. And then, this guy in this photo right here, he walks out. He's like, hey there, can I get my daughter, basically? Deku's like, can I ask your name, sir? The guy, he sees that Deku looks, like, really familiar to him, so he's squinting at Deku. He's like, can I get your name first, though? He's like, Deku, basically, he tells him, like, I asked first, alright? We'll trade names afterwards. So Deku, the guy is slightly annoyed, but he's like, Shisaki Kai, because he really wants to know who the hell Deku is, because Deku looks a lot like his brother. So Deku, his eyes widen, he's like, you're Shisaki Kai? Shisaki thinks that this guy knows that he's a Yakuza. Deku basically, he tells the girl, like, stay right here, because, like, he wants to go talk to him, So he walks up to Shisaki, and Shisaki, he's about to take off his glove. Deku's like, so you're my uncle, Shisaki, he stops for a second. He's like, what do you mean your uncle, kid? Deku basically explained, like, yeah, you're Shisaki Kai, right? My dad's brother, And then, Shisaki is his last name, right? So, he's like, wait, what's your dad's name then? Because nobody really knew about Hisashi. He's like, Hisashi, Shisaki's eyes widen. He like, wait, it's Hisashi? Like, Hisashi's alive? He's like, yeah, what do you mean alive? He was, he's like, come on, let's go meet him. He's like, you said this is your daughter, right? He basically, like, he's, like, biting his tongue. He's like, yeah, that's my daughter. He's like, let me take her. She's, like, my cousin now. So, he basically, like, picks up Eri. He's like, all right, come on, let's head off. Dad'll, like, definitely be happy to see you. He talks about you all the time. Shisaki's surprised by this, so he's walking with Deku. Eri's holding on to Deku tightly. So Deku's playing with, like, trying to play with Eri, but, Eri's very, shy and scared, especially since he said uncle. So she's kind of scared of Deku, but, Deku really doesn't understand why. So, they get to, like, the house, and, Shisaki is behind Deku, like, basically, like, waving to Eri, like, don't say something, or else, you're dead. So, he gets into the house. He's like, Mom, Dad, guess what? Guess who I just met, basically Inko, like, walks out. He's like, oh, who is it, honey? She sees someone who kind of looks like Hisashi, but, like, a little bit different, because Hisashi has, like, Deku's hair, so, but he looks a lot like Overhaul. And Deku, like, looks a lot like his dad, but, he has his hair, but it's, like, it has a little bit of brown in there, but it's mostly green. So, he does have his, like, he does have his dad's eyes. So basically, Deku's like, yeah, what's it called? Guess what? Like, I found Dad's brother, and Hasashi busts in there. He's like, Shisaki, and like Shisaki's like Hasashi, like they run at each other, like they give each other a hug. Like Shisaki's crying, and basically like they're both crying at this point because Hisashi's crying because he hasn't seen his brother in forever, and Shisaki is crying because like he thought his brother was dead. Basically, in this one, the whole reason like he wanted to erase all quirks is because of his brother dying. Like that's what I made it out to be. So basically, like Deku, like they sit down. Shisaki like explains that he's like, he's crying. He's like, I was told that you died and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. Basically, he's like, I didn't know that you were alive. If I knew that you were alive, I would have done so many things differently. I would have looked for you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's fine, man, He's like, I was worried about you. I never found you. I never heard about you, Like, Shisaki's like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, they're talking, and like Hasashi brings up the point that Deku has, like, his quirk. So Shisaki looks at Deku. He's like, so you have overhaul, And then Deku's like, yeah, I have overhaul, He basically shows like that he like destroys something, but he's still holding Eri. So Eri's like now scared because he destroyed something and he reformed it. He's like, yeah, but there's a few differences. Like when I reform something or like someone, it won't hurt nearly as much as it would if I was like you or something. I can like choose how much it hurts. So Shisaki's like, wow, that's way better than, mine. Like, I can barely heal people and stuff like that. He's like, yeah. So they're talking, and, Shisaki's like, can I talk to Hasashi for, like, alone for a little while? And, basically, like, they understand. So, basically, Deku's, like, playing with Eri. And at this point, Eri's opening up a bit to Deku, but, she's still very scared since, like, Shisaki is still around. So basically, what Shisaki does, he explains what he did to what he did to his brother. He explains, like, that girl right there isn't actually, like, his daughter. He found her on the streets, and, her quirk was, useful to him at the time, And, like Hisashi's confused, like, he's like, what do you mean? So Shisaki basically explains how he, like, the reason why he wanted to get that girl was because he could use her quirk to destroy all other quirks, basically. To destroy quirks in general. So now Hisashi's confused. He's like, so wait, you're trying to destroy quirks? He's like, well, I was before until I knew you were alive. Like, if I had known you were alive the whole time, I would never have done, the things that I've done. So, like, he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I've honestly basically tortured that girl to get her blood. Like, Hisashi, he's, like, surprised about this. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, that girl, like, she's been through hell and back. And honestly, I feel awful now, knowing that I've done all that for nothing, Because Shisaki, he felt bad for doing it all to Eri, but, he basically, like, justified itself to, like, a means to an end. So he's like, listen, alright, I'm going to turn myself in, because I'm a criminal. Okay, like, I'm, like, a leader of a Yakuza, And, like, Hisashi's surprised about this. He's like, you're the leader of, the Yakuza? He's like, yes, but, I'm going to turn myself in. And what I need you to do, I need you to take care of that girl. I need you to help her. And then, one day I hope that I'll apologize. And I won't expect an acceptance from her. I just hope to apologize to her without her being scared of me. At least not fully. So basically, like, Hisashi, he understands. He's crying with his brother, basically. Basically Hisashi, like, Shisaki, he leaves, like, he says goodbye and stuff, but, he basically tells, like, Deku, he's like, she seems, eased around you, so I hope you take good care of her, basically, like, he's like, Hisashi, if you want to explain it to them, you can, if you don't, then you don't have to. I would request that you explain it to them now or later. So, Hisashi's like, I'll explain it to them, Basically, when Shisaki leaves, like, he heads straight to the prison and he admits to everything, and he starts telling, like, the police everything they want to know. And, Hisashi, he explains to Deku and Inko, like, that what his brother did and why he did it all. Eri's shaking, remembering it all, and Deku's holding her, like, tightly. He's like, don't worry, it's okay. It won't happen. Like, basically, I won't let it happen to you. And, she's like, how do I know, that you won't do it? You have the same power as them, basically, blah, 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 blah. Deku's like, cause I'd never do that to you, alright? And then, basically, like, Eri, she looks up at him. He has the saddest look in his eyes because he feels like, in some ways she's scared of him, which she is scared of him. So, basically, after that, she basically holds Deku because she only trusts him because she views, like, Deku as the one who saved her from Shisaki. And she also views, like, Hisashi as basically, like, she doesn't fully trust Hisashi because Hisashi is, his brother. And, like, she doesn't know about Inko yet, because, like, she only, like, stayed around Izuku. Even though she still didn't trust Izuku fully. So, after that, Deku, basically, he's like, alright. Oh, yeah. Deku, he's basically like, alright, well, I'll be taking care of you from now on, since you seem to only feel safe around me. Eri's holding on to him. She's like, alright, But he basically asks, like, Yue if he can take her with him, because, like, he explains, like, basically what happened to, like, Nezu, and Nezu's surprised about all this, because, like, they knew about Overhaul. Like, Night Eye was working on, like, finding Overhaul, but then Overhaul just turned himself in, which, like, completely confused Night Eye, and completely confused, like, everybody who was looking for him. And so Deku basically explains the other side of the story on why. And everybody's, like, heartbroken. But, Eri doesn't trust anybody. Like, she's scared. She's scared of Deku, but she's more scared of everybody else, basically. So, give me a second. Drink break. That's so much better. Basically, alright. From there, Deku, he's like, I swear to you that, I won't let any harm go your way. And, basically, like, she stays with Deku from now on. Like, she's always with Deku. She never lets him go anywhere without her. Because she doesn't feel safe anywhere else, other than, like, maybe with Inko sometimes. But she's mostly scared of Hisashi, because Hisashi looks a lot more like, Shisaki. I'll just call him Kai whenever I talk about Hisashi. Because I know that it'll get confusing, like Hisashi, Shikasi, fuck! Shisaki and fuck! Kai, alright, Kai and Hisashi. So Shisaki and Hisashi. I'll just say Hisashi and Kai. Because, his name is Kai, like, Shisaki Kai. I'll just say Kai from now on. So Kai, she thinks that he looks like Kai, so she's worried. She's more scared around him. She is, like, scared of Deku to, like, a certain extent, but Deku's slowly but surely gaining her trust. Which it's a lot harder for this Deku than it is canon Deku. Because he looks like Overhaul. Like, he doesn't look crazy amount like him, but he has the same features, And, like, sometimes she'll have night terrors, and whenever Deku wakes her up from them, she'll see, like, the the Kai and Deku. And, she'll be scared for a little while until Deku, like, holds her and makes sure she's okay. Basically, like, Deku basically swore to himself that he will make sure that this girl doesn't, fear him. And, she will over the time. So, they did have a break until, the sports festival. And Deku did ask Eri, like, he'll be at the sports festival, so what does she want to do? But, like, Eri basically begged and pleaded for Deku to take her with him. So, Deku, he had no choice, like, because she gave him the puppy dog eyes. And, when Deku went there with Eri, they were like, you can't take her with you, and, blah, 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 blah. And, and then she gave them the puppy dog eyes, and they couldn't do nothing, because, it's Eri. So, Eri basically, like, stays with Deku all the time. And at this point, she sees Deku, like, not as a brother figure anymore, because Deku basically, like, was like, I'll always take care of you, blah, 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 blah. At this point, she sees, because it's been, like, a solid month, we'll say, of Deku just taking care of Eri. Now Eri basically sees Deku as, like, a father figure. Like, this is what I'm going to do for every what if Eri is in it. She's going to see Deku as a father figure all the time, every time. So, Deku basically, he's like, alright then, Eri, well, I'll be here, but I need you to stay in the arena, basically sit down here while I do the race, and, either way, it'll come back over here, but I'll be walking over there. She's like, okay,
she hugs Deku, and Kendo's like, so who's the kid? He's like, oh, this is Eri, and basically like she pulls Deku's like pants leg, and Deku looks down at her. He's like, what's up, Eri? Like, who is this girl? She's asking questions. So he's like, oh, this is Kendo. She's like, one of my best friends. And, and she's like, she basically like, she's like pulls his leg again. She's shy about this question. Deku's like, what is it, Eri? She's like, can I call you? He's like, what? She basically says Papa. Deku, he's like, he doesn't know what to say, because like he's like, Eri, you don't have to call me that. Why not call my Hasashi Papa or something? Because like he'll say Hasashi for her. She's like, no, what's it called? He still kind of scares me, and he's nice, but he still kind of scares me a little bit, which hurts like Hasashi a lot, because Eri is in a way his niece still, even if Overhaul did like even if Overhaul did torture her, he still took her in, which does make her his niece in a way, which it hurts Hasashi that she's scared of him, but he tries his best to like not make it look like it hurts. God, doing 2 videos in a row sucks. But Deku basically like he explains that it's like she tries to like ask him if it's okay, and Deku wants to say no, but puppy dog eyes again. He's like, it's fine then, he basically like, it's fine, stuff like that. So Deku, like, Kendo's laughing at him like, ha, you're a father, stuff like that. And he's like, look at her, she's adorable. It doesn't matter, I'm a father of an adorable child. He basically like, he's like, alright, Eri. He's like, so do you want to sit here? You want to sit in the stands? Basically. She's like, I'll stay here, wait for Papa. She's like, you better be the first one here or I'm gonna be angry, blah, 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 blah. Deku, he's like, alright, it's fine, basically. He smiles, he's like, I'll be here first, like, no matter what. So Deku, he's now on a war path to get to the end first, because this isn't about winning the sports festival. This is about his daughter, alright? So he's on a war path. So like everybody like as soon as the timer starts, it's 3, 2, 1, go. And Todoroki like tries to freeze the floor, but Deku he destroyed the bottom of his shoes, then destroyed the ice around him, and just started running. So Deku is like running, and he's like beside Todoroki, because I did say that Deku worked out a lot. And, Deku basically, like, he's like, alright, well, I'm sorry, but I have, like, somewhere to be. So he takes off his glove, he touches the ground, and he, like, gets sent flying by a rock. At this point, he doesn't care. So he's, like, fully, like, using every move he can to get to there faster. So, Deku, he touches the ground, he makes, like, a bridge across, but then destroys it. He starts running. And, what's it called? Now he's already at the bombs, and Todoroki's at the scaffolding and stuff. And remember, I did say that Deku took over the Nomu. So Deku does have the Nomu strength, speed, regeneration, shock absorption, all that. So Deku, he's fast as a motherfucker. So he's already at the, like, proximity bombs. So he touches the ground. He basically, like, disintegrates where the bombs, like, are, so he can see them. And then, like, he'll basically push all the bombs together to make a big explosion. And, he runs, and he's, like, there first. He's like, first place, Izuku Midoriya. Basically, like, Izuku, like, runs up. He's like, I told you I'd make it first, blah, blah, blah. Eri's happy because, her papa made it first. Then second place is Todoroki. Third place is Bakugo. And then, like, fourth place is, like, I don't know. We'll say Kendo, because why not? So, basically, like, that's a placement. Basically, like, 10 million points, and then everybody's looking at, Deku with killer intent, right? But since Eri is next to Deku, she's feeling the killer intent. She's scared now, and now Deku's pissed off, so he's looking at them with, like, double the killing intent. So now they're scared, because, they scared his fucking daughter. So he's pissed now. He's like, you fuckers better be ready to die. Like, that's the look that he's giving them. So they're basically, like, ready to avoid Deku at all costs. Eri's like, Deku's like, alright, you need to stand to the side this time, Eri. You need to stay on the, what's it called, on the seating area, but you'll be up where classes usually are. So basically, she'll be sitting where the classes will be sitting. So, she's like, okay, stuff like that. So she sits there. Deku, like, he gives her, like, a nice hand sign. Like, Chilai from Dragon Ball Super, he gives her that hand sign. So he's like, nice. And then, basically, like, it's like 3, 2, 1, go, and everyone rushes Deku. Deku takes off his glove, and, he touches the ground. He made sure to, like, he made sure to, like, he made sure to do it in a different way than overhaul. Because, it does still give Eri some memories. But Deku's trying to give her, like, a better impression of what his quirk is. To show her that it not only is, it isn't just that evil man's quirk in her eyes. It's still, Deku. So he's trying to get her to see that, the quirk isn't evil. It's what the person does with it that makes it evil, So, she is slightly scared whenever Deku uses his quirk, but, when she looks at Deku, like, he's smiling at her, so she doesn't worry too much, because nobody wanted to join Deku's team, we'll say, since he didn't want to be a hero, really. Plus, he always made jokes at people. He's always like, yeah, you guys aren't even good enough to be on my team, don't worry. He basically, like, always made quips and stuff. So, like, the only person who really was, like, okay with joining his team was Kendo, but Deku was like, nah, I'm basically painting a target on my back to show Eri that, like, I'm awesome, so you should probably not join my team. Like, he's honest with Kendo because, he's friends with her. For now. Soon Kendo, But, basically, I don't know if I said Deku asked out Kendo or anything yet. If I did, retcon that. Basically, So, basically, like, while like, everybody's rushing at Deku, he touches the ground, a giant wave of earth comes, it pushes everybody off. Everybody is, like, flying off and stuff like that. So, Deku, he's like, alright, well, like, they're flying away, basically, and Deku's like, come on, then. He's like antagonizing them. He's like, I thought you guys would be better. Here I am trying to be in the general courses, and you hero students can't even beat me. He's basically, throwing insults at him. Insult after insult. And, Deku hasn't really been trying to, like, hide the fact that he's a vigilante at this point. He's just trying to show off in front of Eri. Because, at this point, like, after she said, like, can I call you Papa? It changed Deku in the inside. He's like, alright, time to basically show how awesome I am for Eri, basically. Because, like, he wouldn't normally do this. Like, he would normally, like, try to be, like, third place or not try to be here at all. But, Ares is there, so he has to show off. So, basically, like, Deku, he's kicking ass and taking names. At this point, at this point, Nezu has clicked in his head who, like, the vigilante is, who's, been kicking ass and taking names. And, Aizawa also figures it out, because I didn't say it, but Aizawa had fought the guy, and, Aizawa had fought him, and, Deku still fought back, even though Aizawa took his quirk for a while. And what Deku did, basically, he's just, like, at one point when Aizawa closed his eyes, built a big wall in between them, and just dipped. Because he didn't want to have to kill Aizawa. Because he doesn't really kill, heroes. He only kills villains. But, basically, like, as soon as they figure out who he is, he has a way to get out of everything. So, Deku basically, Deku's gotten in first now. He has 1 million points, he's gotten in first. So he's like, yeah, woo, come on. Like, everybody's like, yeah, everybody's cheering for him because they think his quirk is amazing. Basically, so, like, President Mike is like, that kid, Aizawa, isn't he in your class? And Aizawa's like, yes, but he only is in there for the general studies. Everybody's surprised about that. And, he explains that Deku's quirk is, overhaul, and he explains how it works. And, basically, like, he's like, wow, that's an amazing quirk. Why isn't he a hero? He's like, he has his reasons, but, in Aizawa's head, he's like, he's been a vigilante this whole time, and he never even wanted to get his hero license. Like, that's how he's thinking. But he's thinking, like, why is Deku being, why is Deku showing off all his abilities now? Like, why is he doing this now? So Deku, he's like, he at this point, it's 1v1s. Deku's sitting with Eri. He's like, yeah, what do you think? Didn't I show those guys? And, she's like, yeah, you made the big wave, and, it went boosh, and, she's basically, like, talking like a kid. And Kendall's laughing because Deku's acting all fatherly. He's like, what do you find funny? And she's like, I didn't know you could be a father. And he's like, yeah, I'm honestly the best father ever, probably. And, Aria's like, yeah, basically. Because she's being energetic because Deku's pretty energetic when he's around her. Because Deku doesn't want her to be like how he is when he's trying to intimidate people. He wants her to be like, the chilled out Deku that he is when he's around his friends. So basically, like, Deku, he's like, yeah, but don't worry, I'll be, winning this. So Ojiro basically tells Deku, like, be careful, don't talk to that guy, blah, 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 blah. And, basically, like, Deku's like, yeah, whatever, I'll do that. Thanks for the advice, Basically, so what happens is, it's Deku versus Shinso, and, I'm about to do Shinso so dirty, it's not even gonna be funny. So basically, like, Shinso, he's talking, he's like, so, what do you think, you're too good to be a hero or something? Deku ignores him. And, he's like, and, he's basically talking, and then, like, Deku's basically ignoring it, so he's walking towards Shinso. So Shinso's trying to think of insults and stuff at Deku. He realizes, like, what if I can't, make him talk from that? Basically, I'll make him talk another way. So he's like, so who's the ugly brat? Deku stops. Like, he stops in his tracks. He closes his eyes and he looks up at Shinso. And, Shinso's like, bingo bongo. Like, he's like, bingo. So he's like, yeah, who's the ugly brat? Deku, he's like, he's trying to keep it in, like, he's trying to keep in his anger. So he's like, he's chilling out. He's like, yeah, who the hell has a horn, that freaking weirdo, He's like, Shinso's throwing insults at Eri. Deku is not liking it one bit. Because, like, it's been a month, but he already views Eri as his own, like, child. Or else he wouldn't be acting this way. So, basically, he goes over the line. He's like, what, like, what's up with that freak? Is she some, like, test subject or something? And, this throws Deku over the edge. He's like, who the hell? And, Shinso's like, gotcha. And, Deku, he's pissed at this point. So, Shinso mind controls him. Deku, he's angry. He has this angry look, but he's, like, under the mind control. So Deku's beyond mad right now. So, basically, Deku, he's trying to stop himself. So, what Shinso does, he's like, walk off the edge. So Deku's walking, right? And, like, Deku's glove has been off this whole time, so Deku, like, his hand is slowly moving towards his leg. And, Deku touches his leg, and Shinso, like, he's like, I'm about to win, like, that was so easy. And then Deku's leg just blows up. Deku, he falls on the ground, he's like, fuck, that hurt, and Shinso's confused, like, what the fuck just happened, and Eri's scared, so Deku, like, reforms his leg, and, he's like, god damn, that hurt. Eri, she's like, what the hell, what happened, she's, like, scared. She's like, Papa, Deku, he smiles at her, and then he looks, like, he turns around, and he gives, like, the exact look that's in this photo to, to Shinso. Shinso's scared now. So Deku walks up to Shinso. He's like, I'm about to do some villainous shit to you. Like, that's, like, the look that he has. So, Shinso basically, like, so what he does, he just touches Shinso, and instead of doing the blow-up shit, he just slowly disintegrates Shinso. At this point, the heroes are about to step in, but, like, as Shinso, like, is fully gone, he touches the dust, and Shinso comes back, but he made it as painful as possible. So Shinso, he's like, like, he's screaming. He's like, talk about my daughter one more time, and I won't bring you back. He pushes Shinso, and Shinso falls. Basically, he's knocked out from pain. And basically, like, Deku, they're like, Izuku Midoriya wins, but everybody's scared, because, like, Deku just, like, did that to Shinso because he talked shit about Eri. So, basically, Eri's, like, but Eri doesn't, like, see Deku's quirk that way. Since, like, he did the decay way, where he decayed him away. But, if he would have blown Shinso up, then she would have gotten flashbacks. But he made sure not to do it in that way, plus he wanted to make it painful for Shinso. So basically, Deku's called in. They asked Deku to explain, why he did that, Deku explained that he was talking shit about Eri. So, they basically are like, okay, but what if a pro hero did that? If a pro hero did that, then they wouldn't be here to, scold me. So now they're worried, like, Deku would turn to villainy if Eri asked it, which he would. If Eri was like, give me $1 million, he'd do it. Because at this point, he's like, he's a new father, so he's like, he'll do anything for him, for her, or for his safety. So Deku, alright, where did I leave off? I left off with them talking to Deku about what he did to Shinso. So they're like, one more thing. Those moves that you did, they're a lot like, the vigilante. And they're like, basically like, Nezu's like, so are you the vigilante who's been, killing criminals, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, yes, but no. And he's confused. He's like, what do you mean, yes, but no? He's like, you saw what I did to Shinso, right? They're like, yeah, how you disintegrated him. And Deku's like, yeah, I could probably bring them back if I really wanted to. They're basically like, so it was you who did it. Why did you do it? Blah, blah, blah. And, Deku basically explains that, when he saw All Might fight, the masked man, all for one, he realized that, villains, like, sometimes they can't, come back from what they've done. They can't, like, they can't, they can't be changed sometimes. But then Deku realized, that he was wrong when he met Overhaul. Basically, he saw that Overhaul felt awful for what he did. So Shisaki is, like, one of the main reasons why Deku decided to, like, reveal himself. But it was also because he wanted to show off for Eri. But, other than that, Deku's like, yeah, to be honest, I was planning on telling you guys after I found out about, my uncle. And they're like, okay, so can you bring back those criminals, like, so that we can put them in jail? He's like, yeah, just bring me, like, their ashes or blown up bodies or just any blood samples of them. And they're like, wait, can you just, like, bring people back to life? He's like, well, the people that I destroy, I can. He's like, and depending on how long that person was, like, from dead, basically, like, all my perks up. He's like, wait, so you can heal wounds? And, he's like, yeah, but like, depending on the wound, I could probably heal it pretty easily, no matter what. And he's like, well, how long does a wound have to be there? He's like, well, if it's just a wound, I could heal it, like, no matter how long it's been there. But if it's, like, you died, like, and I didn't cause that, then you'll have to have freshly died, basically. He's like, you'll have to have, like, died for, like, an hour ago. So they're like, oh, okay. So basically, like, they understand. They're like, okay, I get it. So All Might's like, can you do me a favor then, young Midoriya? And Deku's like, well, if you can do me a favor, we'll make that a deal. And, basically All Might's like, alright, we'll see after you do me the favor. Because All Might does plan on doing Deku's favor, but it depends on what it is. So, All Might's like, can you heal my injury? Deku's like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, that's easy monies. Well, I think, did Deku already heal All Might's injury and ask for a favor in return later? If he did, then, he cashes in on that favor. If he didn't, then he heals All Might and is like, well, you owe me a favor now. All Might's like, alright, what's the favor? Deku's like, a full pardon for everything, the vigilante work, all of it. And All Might's like, but kid, like, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, you're number one hero, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, alright, but as long as you can, bring all of them back. So Deku, he's like, yeah, alright, I'll do that. But he's like, oh, one more thing, And then he's like, yeah, and he basically, like, says, like, don't let Eri know about, my vigilante work at all. Because if she knows, I will be coming after you. And I'll put a, bigger wound than the one that you just had. He leaves. They're scared now, because Deku promises something, and, Deku keeps his word. So basically, like, everybody, like, now Deku is a part of the hero course officially. He's like, yeah, I'm a part of the hero course now. And then they're like, wait, what? Because basically Deku did say that since, what Overhaul did, he decided to join the hero course. And he was always allowed. He always had a spot in there. But, they basically were like, well, all we'll have to do is send, one of them to Class 1B. Deku's like, wait, who are you sending to Class 1B? And they're like, to be honest with the scores, we should send Kendo. But we decided to send Mineta. And Deku's like, alright, that's good, because Kendo's the only person who I really talked to in that class. They're like, yeah, that's also one reason why we chose to keep her. So Deku sits down, he's like, yeah,
that went well. Eri is sitting on Kendo's lap. She's like, so how'd it go, Papa? Basically, he's like, oh, it went fine, Eri. You know, and basically, like, Deku's sitting down, basically, and we'll say instead of Uraraka, it's Kendo versus Bakugo. So Kendo's like, alright, Eri, I have to go. Can you sit back with your Papa? And she's like, okay. She sits on Deku's lap. Deku's about to watch the show, basically on Bakugo versus Kendo. And Kendo is a bit stronger in this because, she trained. But, either way, Bakugo will probably win this. I'll see what I decide. But first, while Deku's sitting down with Eri and Kendo left, basically, Eri looks at Deku and Deku's like, what is it? She's like, Papa, when am I gonna have a mama? Like, he's like, I literally became your Papa today. Like, can't you give me, like, a break? I can't handle all this. She's like, but, like, when am I gonna get a mama? Do I have a mama? But, Deku's like, not right now, She's like, why not? Like, he's like, okay, so who do you think your mama should be? She's like, Kendo. Deku, he's like, no. She's like, why not? She's nice. Because she already took a liking to Kendo because Deku trusted her. So she's like, Kendo nice. Kendo's nice to me. She's like, I want Kendo to be my mama. And, Deku's like, well, you'll have to ask Kendo about that. How about that? Because he doesn't even want to deal with this conversation. So he's like, and she's like, all right, I'll ask her, So Kendo's in her fight, basically, like, Bakugo goes for explosions, but Kendo blocks it with, like, her left hand, and then smacks him around with her right. But eventually Bakugo throws, like, a big explosion, and, it knocks Kendo out. So, now Eri's scared. She's like, Kendo, she yells it out because she's not mama just yet. But, she like, basically, she's like, can you help her? He's like, all right. So he jumps down. He heals Kendo. Basically, Kendo, she's like, she walks in there with her head down. She walks into the area. Deku sees that Kendo's sad, so he walks up to her. He's like, you tried your best, right? And she's like, yeah. Like, she has a few tears in her eyes. Deku's like, it doesn't mean that your training hasn't gone anywhere. It's just you had an unfair match. Bakugo has more distance than you. Bakugo has, like, more range. And she's like, yeah, but, it still doesn't, be the fact that, it hurts a lot. So, like, then, she feels, like, a tug on her leg. She looks down. It's Eri hugging her. She hugs Eri back. And then, Eri is basically, like, comforting Kendo. He's like, I'll kick his ass for you. Like, that's what Deku says. Like, I'll kick his ass for you, don't worry. And, basically, Kendo's like, thanks, Midoriya, and she's like, alright, let's go sit down, Eri. So, that is how that went. Everything else went to canon, and, now it's Deku versus Todoroki, and, Deku's like, well, I gotta kick your ass, Todoroki, sorry, Todoroki's like, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 blah. He did have that talk with Endeavor, but he's like, next time you talk to me like this, I'll destroy you, basically, like, how have I been a father for one day and it already seems like I'm a better father than you? Basically, he walks away. Endeavor, like, is hit with that deep emotion because he has to think about what Deku just said. Because, he did, like, basically, like, it was heard that, Deku said fine to being Eri's papa. Basically, everyone's seeing that Deku's already a pretty good father. Endeavor is basically thinking about the fact that, Deku basically said he's already a better father than Endeavor. So Endeavor's thinking about it. He's like, no way that, that brat was a dad for one day and he's already better than me. He's starting to think, he's realizing slowly that, yeah, like, because he never really, showed any kindness towards any of his kids other than Shoto, and even then, it wasn't really kindness. So he's like, oh, shit, like, he's really thinking about it. Like, it's actually hitting him. So, the Endeavor redemption arc will have to come earlier. And also, I'll have to make part 7 of Betrayed with the redemption arc. But right now, we should worry about Overhaul. So, Deku, what's Deku doing? So, he's fighting Todoroki. He's like, use your flames. Todoroki says, no, it's your power. It all goes the same, but instead, like, Deku shoots, like, a giant wave of earth. And, plus, since Deku has shock absorption and regeneration, he doesn't really get sent flying too much.
But Todoroki's out of the ring. And basically Deku, he's who should Deku go against? Like, who's going? Yeah, it's Bakugo. Now Bakugo versus Deku. Deku basically he has the no move abilities, so Bakugo throws an explosion. Deku's walking through that shit. Bakugo's like, how are you not reacting? Deku basically like pulls up his sleeve. He's like, you see this? And it's like a dragon tattoo. And he's like, yeah, what about it? He's like, that's a Nomu. And basically Deku, Bakugo remembers that the Nomu like disappeared all of a sudden, basically, and he thought that they thought that Deku just blew it up, but now they're realizing that Deku fused with it, basically. So now Deku like just runs at Bakugo and punches him, and Bakugo is sent up in the air. Deku jumps up and then he kicks Bakugo to the ground. Bakugo's on the ground, he's barely like awake, and then Deku just like kicks him, and then he gets sent to the wall and slams into it. Deku he cracks his fingers. He's like, that was pretty easy, And then after that, Deku's like, well, that was pretty easy. I'll be heading out now. So he heads towards what's it called? He heads back since he won. And he's like, Eri, you want to go up to the stands with me when I get my medal? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. What's it called? So they go up to the stands when they're getting their medal. And All Might is about to give it to Deku. He's like, no, give it to her. He puts the medal on Eri, and Eri's happy. She smiles, and Deku never saw her smile, so it's like a different experience for him. He's super happy right now. So is Kendo, and like a few Class 1A girls are like, oh, she's adorable. Momo, she is Kendo's friend, so she basically like, pulls Kendo to the side. So she was like, what's it called? Eri was talking about you while you were in your match. Kendo's like, what is it? Basically, she said, yeah, Eri was asking if you could be her mother. Kendo, she's red now, because she's like, wait, what? Basically stuff like that. She's like, yeah, whatever, stop messing with me, Momo, and stuff like that. So, she walks off, and then Kendo gets approached by Deku and Eri. Deku has Eri on his shoulder, And then, like, Eri is like, Kendo, I have a question. Kendo's like, yo, what's up, Eri? Like, can you be my mama? Like, she says that, and, Kendo did think that Momo was joking with her. So Deku was like, you really had to ask. Like, you really had to ask. Kendo doesn't know what to say, because, Eri's giving her puppy dog eyes. She's like, fine, fine, you win, stuff like that. Just, that's basically how the relationship starts. I know, lame, but it's easy. That's the easiest way. Because Kendo, she's tomboyish, and Deku, he's an ass when he's around literally anyone except for Eri. So Deku, he's basically like it's the next few days. They're getting their hero names. Everybody's choosing their hero name, and then when it comes to Deku, he's like, I don't know if I really want to choose this name, but I'm gonna have to change this name. I'm gonna fix this name. So he walks up there, and it's Overhaul. Everybody's like surprised about this, especially Aizawa. He's like, are you sure? Like that was a villain's name. He's like, yeah, but I want to bring a new meaning to the name. I want to, I want that name to bring hope, basically. And Aizawa smiles. Eri, when she hears it at first, she's a bit scared, but then when she hears Deku's reasoning, she's a bit happier. But basically out of respect, Deku just made that his name. Plus, why not? Why not do that? But basically, they're like, yeah, you'll be doing your internships. And then, he pulls Deku aside. He's like, yeah, you can take her to the internship, but, she can't go on, patrol with you. And Deku's like, yeah, I wasn't even planning on taking her on patrol. And then, basically, that happens. So, Kendo still goes to Mount Lady, and so does, I'm pretty sure, didn't they go to Mount Lady? Or did they go to, Midnight? Either Mount Lady or Midnight, I don't know. But Kendo went to the same one before. Deku went to Sir Night-Eye. Sir Night-Eye wanted to judge Deku since, he is the nephew of Shisaki Kai, or Overhaul. And he's like, so what's your hero name? He's like, Overhaul. Night-Eye flinches a bit. He's like, Overhaul, and, you could have chose a different name. He's like, yeah, but I wanna change that name's meaning, basically. He says the same thing. Mirio's there. He's like, oh, you must be the new guy. My name's Mirio Togata.
I'm Lemillion. He's like, yeah, my name's Izuku Midoriya. I'm Overhaul, And then, Mirio stops because he's like, wait, Overhaul, Because he didn't know that, he didn't really know too much about what happened to Overhaul. So he goes for a punch, Deku's like, alright, you don't have to do that now. He dodges it. And then, Night Eye's like, stop, Mirio. He explains the situation. Mirio's surprised about it. He's like, so, you're taking care of the little girl now? He's like, yeah. Because they knew about Eri, but, basically, he's like, so where is she? He's like, oh, yeah, she's in the reception room with the receptionist. Eri is, a bit, more open now, but still not very open. But, they're like, yeah, we'll just be going out on patrols and stuff. So for now, I'm going to leave it off while they're going on patrols, and then, we'll do the Hosu City incident next. So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next part. Bye-bye. Oh, and his hero outfit is still this, so, yeah. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and, well, he has the... Should I give him the overhaul jacket? I'll give him the overhaul jacket, but basically it's this. And he doesn't really wear the hood. But, I hope you enjoyed this. Well, bye-bye.